Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, with a review of the Prairie Tarot, a tarot of the American West. And I apologize, I can't remember the first person who made me aware of this. I did find this on Amazon, but there was only one, and I'm sorry if I get my positions a little weird here because I'm back on kind of a reversed image here for my my webcam, so I'm going to be a little disoriented. But in any case, I found this from somebody else's review, and she was just sort of, and it wasn't actually a review of the Prairie Tarot. She was going through all of her decks and showing each one, and I was really taken with this, and so I did find it on Amazon. But I found it from, where does it show? Oh, I thought it had it on the outside. The actual maker of the deck, I believe, is Glow in the Dark. There it is. Do you see that? Copyright Glow in the Dark, 2011. So, and that's who I bought it from off of Amazon. So for all I know, I might have gotten it cheaper on this person's actual website. So if anybody ends up interested in this deck, check this out. Check out Glow in the Dark and see what the price is there. I don't know. But that's who sent it, and I didn't realize that that was the actual maker of the deck, or I would have gone direct to the website. So this is the deck. This is the backing. This is not a deck for beginners. There is no guidebook, zero, zilcho, nothing. The cards come in a nice sturdy box, very nice box, but no guidebook. So the assumption here is that you already know the tarot system. You already know the tarot system. So I'm going to go through the cards. What you have, let me see if I can find them. This is your pentacles are coins, literally coins of the settling of the time of the settling of the American West. Even though it's called Prairie Tarot, there's a little bit of mountains, which is just the way the American West works. A little bit of mountains, a lot of plains. So you have coins for pentacles, then you have posts for wands, and I am going to flip you through all of them. Posts for wands, and swords for swords, swords for swords, and cups for cups. The first one is a bird bath, which I think is a great idea, but the rest of them are actually cups, people with cups. I will say this is an easy deck to criticize. And I'll show you the points at which you can, it's like swords. Swords were not a major part of the West. You know, it would have made sense to make it pistols or rifles or some kind of firepower, or maybe that, since it's firepower, maybe it should have been for wands instead of fence posts or something. But again, it's one of those things, like I say, it's easy to criticize, but you know, maybe we just need to take it for what it is and be happy with it. I'm happy with it. I'm looking forward to using it. I haven't yet. So you're going to find that it's still in order. And I'm going to start from the bottom up. So we're going to have the suits first, and then I'll go through the major arcana. One of the problems that I have with this, and I'll just have to figure it out for myself, and why I wish there was a guidebook, is for the court cards. It would be nice if these were given names or something, or figures out of the American West and a little information about them, but we don't. And the fact that this is pentacles, if we think of gold, you know, the American West had a gold rush, and you have this, I believe, is a minor 49er figure here. And up, an interesting thing is he's keeping this king. It's a little difficult to read the, let's see if I can get it up there a little closer. The type that he chose is a little difficult to read, and then on the bottom it's got it upside down, so it's like an actual playing card where it's, whoops, I'm sorry, king, and then it's king down in the opposite, whoops, here upside down, K-I-N-G. And I like that because, you know, gambling was also a big part of the West. You know, gambling with cards. And so we have pentacles and the association with the gold rush, or miners in the American West. So here's one of these things. It's like, you know, if you think about, for the Queen of Pentacles, this is a very traditional image with the little bunnies. But we don't get much out of her here. She doesn't have a garden. And if we're associating her with pentacles, the women of pentacles from that period would probably be the madams of the whorehouses. Now, I don't think that's what's depicted here, but it's hard to kind of figure out how she goes with this character. You know, it's, again, this is not a deck for beginners because you have to have all of your associations that come from another deck or from studying the tarot in order to get anything out of this card, really. Unless you just stick with the rabbits and take that as the primary association of that card. And I may do that. I may do that. Another way that I could pick at this deck, and again, I like it a lot. But there are issues. And this is, of course, appropriate. A slow walking horse for the Knight of Pentacles. Perfect, no problem. However, all of the knights but one have a horse that is walking. So there isn't the difference like in the Rider-Waite where you have one walking, one trotting, and two of them kind of charging, one kind of bursting forward and one like at an all-out run, which to me is an important part of those other of that other deck, you know, of their associations. It's part of their energy, the speed at which the horse is going. In this deck, they do have horses of different colors. So you have a Palomino here in the association with gold. The pages are more adult in this, and I like that. And I think they're all kind of refined, and so the association here is that this person, this is the idea that this person has for the West. And I would have to say that to get as much out of this deck as you can, you have to understand the settling of the American West. So if you don't have that background, there are things I think that you're not going to get out of this deck. And one is the pages. The pages, to me, is about, this is a person back in the city, back east, and he's thinking, I want to go west for the gold. And there was a saying, go west, young men, you know, that's where you find your fortune. And that's another reason that I think it's great to have a deck, a tarot deck for the American West, because it was a matter of finding your fortune. It was completely a fool's journey. It was the settling of the West was a fool's journey. And it did have this sense of fate behind it. They called that the manifest destiny, feeling that it was the destiny, you know, ordained by God, that, you know, it should go from sea to shining sea and the West should be settled, all of that. If that sort of thing turns your stomach, and rightfully so, then you might have some difficulty with this deck. Because although there are some Native American images here, there aren't many. And this is not about depicting the truth of the situation, okay? It's a tarot deck. It's not necessarily historically accurate, but it does have some associations which are appropriate. 10 of Pentacles, very, very traditional looking. 9 of Pentacles. Again, you do lose some things here because she doesn't have a garden. She has kind of an Annie Oakley look to her. But I'm not sure that that's appropriate for that card. So again, my association with that card might end up changing. I think this is a great card for the 8 of Pentacles, the labor of shoeing horses. Great one. Again, I think the meaning of this card changes a little bit because if you've got that much, to me this is more of a card of pride than assessment. All right, so I need to get on with it. I'm just going to show you the images. No, I can't. I have to show. This one strikes me as like a banking deal. He's putting out his hand, and he's not asking for money. It's like, let's, I'm going to shake your hand. Either it's a tax collector coming by, or it's a loan to expand the bank. There's some kind of a deal going on here. It's a departure, but I think an appropriate departure, a welcome departure from what's depicted on the normal Rider-Waite deck. Okay, 5 of Pentacles, very similar. 4 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, I think is a lovely card showing the young man working kind of to please his bride and either his father or stepfather. 2 of Pentacles, okay, very interesting. I haven't explored the association of the snake. It could have to do with the whole e pluribus unum, or united we stand, divided we fall kind of symbolism of the snake in the United States. Okay, so we have the wands now. And so we had the minor 49er for the coins. And then this is kind of, although you've got all those woods in the back there, but maybe transforming the forest into fence posts kind of a thing. So you have the rancher. In your posts, you have the rancher. And here's the rancher's wife. And again, he's still walking, carrying his fence post, finding a place to plant the fence post. Here's your cityfied dude looking at the fence post like, do I really want all of this work? 10 of Wands, very traditional. 9 of Wands is actually looking more like the 8 of Swords, but that's okay. Kind of has a similar. And you've got to watch the little birdies in this deck. They do different things. Here he's kind of looking like, what did I hear? What did I hear over here? And the bird, I'm sorry, my directional challenge here with the way the webcam works. The bird is startled. So the bird is startled and flying, and he's like, what startled, is putting him on his guard. Okay, colors in this deck. The rainbow is going to be happy, right? At first I was like, why are the fence posts colored, I'm kind of, for a tarot reader, I suppose, can be a little bit literal. I love this, though. The wind, you can see the wind. And then you have these colored, again, it's the colors of the rainbow. It's the colors of hope. Hopeful news coming. Very traditional. 7. Love this 6. The victory, jumping over the obstacles. 6 of fence post. 6 of Wands. 5 of Wands. I've kind of wondered if the shape here is supposed to represent something. Nothing I can think of. This one's a little bit weird, but pretty much in keeping with Rider-Waite. 4. Again, you have the colors down here. It's kind of red, orangey green and blue. So again, there's a notion of hopefulness here, even though you've just got the desolate. There's nobody getting married here. Maybe that's your first 4 fence posts. 3 of Wands traditionally. 2, I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure if she's staking a claim. Again, that is the language of the American West. You would stake a claim in terms of claiming property for yourself. You would just ride out there and you would stake a claim. She's standing on this pattern down here. I don't know if that's supposed to represent the world, like a symbol of the world. That may be what it is. And again, what's coming across here is that she's staking a claim, and that's all you did. Everybody in the land rush, you would just ride out there, find a good spot, and you would report your coordinates, and it was yours. You know. So we already had the ace. So these are going to go ace king. Now the swords are, to me, swords aren't always negative, but in this deck they tend to be. You know, to me, there's nothing happy about this. There's a shock. You know, the shock of the sword. I take this to be a magistrate of some kind, school teacher. Again, kind of odd. I would have thought maybe the Queen of Wands would have been better suited to that, but you know, it is supposed to be intellect, so maybe so. Perfect. This is Custer. If there were other, you don't. Here, there's no guidebook required. That's Custer, and rushing into his death, and a whole bunch of other people's deaths. And again, here's the cityfied dude who's, you know, coming out west and getting himself into trouble. This is a really interesting representation of the 10 of Swords with the dead buffalo down here. We've got a dead buffalo being replaced by the locomotive. So it definitely encompasses the end of one thing and the beginning of another. Alright, and so the 9 of Swords, very similar. 8, very similar, except she's not getting out of that thing. Okay, so a little bit different. A different 7 of Swords, and I like it. This is like the false friend. He hasn't stolen anything from here, and this is so the American West. False friend, I'm coming into your camp, you know, but I've got the cavalry behind me. Yep, false friend. So a bit of a different meaning there, a very strong meaning. 6 of Swords, very much the same. Very interesting take on the 5 of Swords. A face-off between the man and the woman there. So interesting representations of women here too. It's like, and in this environment, they have to work together or they're going to go down. And so this is a critical face-off there. Okay, traditional 4. Pretty much traditional, an interesting environmental take on it, but pretty much a traditional 3 of Swords. Interesting that she's on a trunk of some kind. Kind of guarding her treasure there, so a bit of a different, and this may be like an eclipse or something different I think is going on here with the moon as well. And then here we are at the cups. Okay, I love the bird bath, community bird bath. All right, the Ace of Cups. However, this is a bit jarring to me, that we go from the plains to the ocean. So that's like, why not a creek? Why on earth did we suddenly end up? And I believe this is the West Coast. This is intended to be the West Coast. So, I don't get that, and I don't particularly like it. And so here is I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be the Atlantic. I don't know. You know, kind of where you get nourishment from or something. I'm kind of wondering if she is kind of mulatto. There's something really interesting about this figure. And different. Okay. Again, at a walking pace, but the horse is white here. And here, no longer the ocean, but again, it looks like a lake or something for water. Here we have a truly western river with the salmon in the background, so this is a very cool page of cups. Kind of a different page of cups. He's more of a cool dude. Doesn't strike me as the emotional, tender sort of page in a traditional Rider-Waite deck. A 10 is predictable, except that they're looking at at a wilderness here. So it's more about potential than it is about actuality. 9 is a brothel, or a saloon at any rate, but with that naked figure up there. So this is more the interpretation of indulgence here than happiness, more indulgence. This is pretty much the traditional 8, traditional 7. Again, the aspect of drink here. So the cups definitely have that aspect of liquor, which is appropriate for the American West. You know, the saloon was a very important part of the lifestyle, we'll just say. Yep, interesting 6. Pretty much traditional meaning. Pretty much traditional. Traditional, except that we have, instead of everything upright, we have 3 down and 1 upright. So a little bit different meaning here, I think. And a lovely, very traditional 3 of cups. Lovely 2 of cups. You have a jackalope. So kind of a mythical critter coming in here, which is appropriate. There is a lot of mythology to the West, and that's incorporated in some respects in the deck. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'll assign the meaning to. I need to Wikipedia the old jackalope and make sure I'm up on all of the mythology and shenanigans around the notion of a jackalope. And I would recommend that anybody else do that too. So you do have an extra card in this deck. You have the jackalope. Alright, the worlds. Very nicely done. Judgment is a little perplexing in that, you know, there's nothing actually rising from the dead here. And I would say graveyards are an important part of the West. Unless you look at this deck as somehow rising, attempting to raise the mythology, you know, the mythology. So I'm going to have to think about my meaning for I think it's going to be a little different. Beautiful, lovely sun card. Isn't that great? Love that sun card. Very traditional. Very traditional moon. And there you have those rainbow colors of hope there for the star again. I love the tower too, getting bucked off the horse. You think it's your trusty horse, but no. Something turns up and you get bucked off. Kind of an interesting devil card. You have addictions here. You have the saloon, so that's your addiction to drink. You have the spittoon. I'm trying to use this pointer instead of my fat finger these days. You have the spittoon, which is addiction to tobacco. And then you have addiction maybe to conflict, where the scorpions have their tails tangled. So really interesting. or addicted to the sting, you might say. I'm not sure. Interesting. Love the alchemist. Love for temperance. You have an actual alchemist. The temperance was once the alchemy card, or is associated with alchemy. So how cool is that? Love that card. And then death. I like this card too. And I don't know to what extent the dinosaur bones were actually found in the plains during the settling of the West. I don't know. I would have to look that up. But certainly now, like this looks like a pterodactyl or something, you know. But now, certainly, there are lots of dinosaur bones. So there's your death. And again, I think that's a little different meaning to the card than you would. Definitely a different meaning to the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man is a pretty benign, benevolent card. This is the Sundance. It is a spiritual trial. Okay, so very different sort of meaning to this. And I'm not sure what to think of this Justice. This, to me, again, I'm going to have to do some research. Traditional sword and balance, okay, so no problem there in terms of interpretation. But this strikes me, the balance in the American West had an awful lot to do with going out and measuring how much money you were going to get for your gold. So, yeah, and especially the fact that she's in a tent like this, a camp. I don't know why my dogs are going crazy, but there must be another dog out there. Unless somebody's at the door. Well, they're going to have to turn around and leave. Okay. Sorry, folks, for the interruption. So, if the fact that this isn't a permanent, it's not a courthouse, makes me wonder if this isn't somebody who's kind of measuring out how much money you're going to get for your gold. And then this, again, on your, and it seems like a sunset, but the Wheel of Fortune, the windmill would bring up water. So it was a critical bit of your fortune. These windmills were in the American West. If you didn't have your windmill bringing water out of the ground, you were in a bad situation. So and I love how this has again the colors of the rainbow, that of hope. In other words, your hope would lie in that thing functioning, and your fortune would lie in that functioning. Beautiful Hermit card. Love the Hermit card. Lovely Strength card. I love the way that cougar or puma, whatever your preference is looking at her like, I thought we were friends, and now you're bringing out this lasso. What's going on? This Chariot card, so. I don't understand why, unless you're just trying to bring in both aspects. But I would have thought you would have used a stagecoach. To me, that would have been the more obvious thing to do rather than, I mean, the horses did not pull a train. To me, I look at that and I think, watch out, horses, you're about to get plowed over. And those old locomotives were much too heavy for a pair of horses to pull. So this is an incongruous image for me. It doesn't work very well, but there you go. And here we have the Lovers, and this is not Rider-Waite Lovers, but almost a more traditional, older aspect of the Lovers, in which he's trying to decide which of the two women is a better suited partner. And I think this is great. You know, the Lovers has an element, an often background element of choice. Who are you choosing and why? And I think it's great that this person that created this deck has fallen back on this, because you really did have to question that. If you were going on such a trial, on such a journey into the American West, you needed to stop and think whether your partner, if you already had one, was up to it, or if you were going to do it and somebody was going to come with you who was a good partner. So I think this is great. I think this is a great card for that. A nod, a token. I have to be honest, this is the Native Americans that appear in here are, for the most part, token. So Hierophant is the medicine man, a token Native American representation here. You know, it might have been more appropriate to have the missionary in here, but again, the person was looking for an opportunity to include a positive association with Native Americans at that time, which is fine. I'm not going to. And, you know, I think this lends all kinds of interesting shades of meaning to this card, so I think it's great. Here is your Emperor, and this, which, you know, I know it's the Emperor, so you have to have a sheep, but really, this should have been a Texas Longhorns. Should have been a Texas Longhorn, I'm sorry. Skull. Should have been a cow skull. But that's okay. I think it's interesting that he's on stairs. I think that that's significant. I think that's cool. I love the representation of the Empress. I love that she has an embroidery hoop there to show her creativity, that she's in a position of ease and has plenty to eat. She's an ample woman and has chicks and a full barn in the background and a covered porch, you know. So all the lusciousness, I think, is right there. It's cool. I like it. Very interesting here. So this is almost like a sideshow fortune teller, which is cool. That's what you would have seen. And that you can't see her eyes. Her eyes are something else. And you're going to see this in the next card, the Magician, as well, that he has these spectacles, you know. So the association here is other sight. Really, really a fun representation, I think, of the Empress. Or excuse me, the High Priestess. And then here he is, yes, with his glasses. You know, nobody can read him. Nobody can read his eyes. And this is the magician that's, I would say, the sideshow magician, the riverboat, the Mississippi riverboat magician, who's there to entertain, bamboozle, and take your money. So even though he's capable, you've got the wands, you've got the cups, you've got the pentacles there between his fingers. What are we missing? Wands, cups, coins, wands, cups, coins. Oh, no swords. No swords? No swords. Okay. But in any case, he's got a lot of things represented there. He's capable in multiple ways, but his intention is to bamboozle you. His intention is not to give you a fair chance. He's using his skills against you. And I do like the Fool card. And I like the fact that the dog is barking a warning. Sometimes the dog just seems to be sort of, you know, about to go over. And that's something that I don't like about the Rider-Waite, is that it seems to be ready to jump off the cliff with the person, whereas I see it as kind of, the dog is kind of another way of knowing, an extrasensory way of knowing. And so I like this, that the dog is barking a warning. It's like, you know, wake up. Wake up, you're about to walk off a cliff. So anyway, there you go. There's your walkthrough and review, look at the Prairie Tarot. I'm very happy that I've gotten it, and I look forward to using it. I think that there are, it's a full tarot deck. I can use it however, but I think that there's a humorous aspect of it, and I'm thinking it would be a really good deck for work issues and career issues, anything where you're taking a risk and putting yourself out there in a very new, uncertain situation. Alrighty, that's it. Thank you for stopping by and listening, liking all of those good things. If you're interested in more deck reviews, I do have some, and I put them into now I can't remember the name of it, into a playlist on my site. You can find my other reviews, and I've got some other new decks coming. So if you want to subscribe, you will see those as they come out, or you might want to every now and then check in and see my reviews of additional decks that are coming up. Alrighty, thanks so much. Bye-bye.